But now I don't see those cobbles and curbs. I don't hear the blues anymore.
Rough Trade is giving away a third of the first 3 months of the Rough Trade Club plus new music membership exclusively to 101 Part-Time Jobs listeners. Become a member of Rough Trade Club New Music and you'll receive the Rough Trade Album of the Month straight to your door every month on exclusive vinyl pressing with exclusive bonus material. Club members have received exclusive pressings of albums from Sufjan Stevens, Sprints, The Last Dinner Party, Julie Byrne, and Over Mono, just to name a few, this past year alone. Sign up using the promo code CLUB101POD and you'll get the Rough Trade Album of the Month, English Teacher's excellent debut album, This Could Be Texas, on exclusive Galaxy Gold for a third of the usual price. Here's English Teacher on a recent episode of 101.
How many opportunities do you get to write a debut album and have all of this, sport behind us? I don't know. I really like the idea of holding the bar as being like classic songs.
You only get one shot at a debut.
Don't want the album of the month but still want all the benefits? Sign up to the standard tier using Club 101 Pod and you'll still get the first month free. You'll also get free shipping on all orders, 10% off the bar and on secondhand vinyl in store, and exclusive access to sold out Rough Trade events. So don't hang around. Go to roughtrade.com/club and sign up with the code CLUB101POD. That's CLUB101POD and claim money off the album of the month, English Teachers This Could Be Texas, today. This offer's available to UK residents only. Do you play in bands? I did for the longest time. And I wish that I knew that DistroKid was a thing. I don't even think it existed back then. DistroKid makes music distribution fun and easy with unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of your royalties and earnings. 1 million plus artists rely on DistroKid to get their music on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, Instagram, and all the major streaming services. When you get DistroKid, you can see a DistroKid bank and withdraw your earnings. You get notified when you've earned royalties and you can withdraw via the app. And you can even check your streaming stats on Spotify and Apple. Get 30% off your first year on DistroKid by going to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod. 30% off for your first year. That's not bad. We know it's a tough world out there. Why don't you make it easier for yourself? And to get 30% off that free year as an artist, where you get 100% of your royalties and earnings, go to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod. All right, stay with me. I'll be right back after this.
This episode is brought to you by Essentia. A better you starts with better hydration. Essentia is on a mission to inspire people to do what matters most. Their proprietary ionization process transforms water from any source into ionized alkaline water, providing water that's 99.9% pure with a pH of 9.5 or higher. Essentia overachieving H2O, the #1 ionized alkaline water. Shop now.
Upgrade your business tools with an American Express Business Platinum Card. Unlock over $1,000 per year in statement credits on select purchases in categories including tech, wireless, and recruiting. And so big expenses can deliver big benefits, you'll also earn 1.5 times membership rewards points on single eligible purchases of $5,000 or more. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
All right, you're listening to 101 Part-Time Jobs with me, Giles Bidder. It's where I speak to bands and artists about making music and how they've got through it. It's no secret that right now might be the hardest it's ever been to be an independent musician. I want to find out how bands keep going. What's the impetus, how they're able to keep making records, and us dancing. On today's episode, very special band, English Teacher, one of England's most exciting guitar bands. They've just announced their debut album, This Could Be Texas, coming out on the 12th of April. They just released an incredible video and track, Albert Road. I implore you to go check that out. Really well filmed, really fresh and original. I sometimes think bands have a bit of a tough job coming up with original music video ideas. And Albert Road by English Teacher just brings a really fresh feeling. So go and watch that, go and enjoy it. What an exciting band. I saw them at the end of last year and completely blew me away. Someone in the front row of the gig actually passed out, which I think had something to do with the music they were playing. So you can't get more powerful of evidence than that, really. Cheers for listening to 101 Part-Time Jobs. Make sure you subscribe if you like this episode, if you like this show and what I'm trying to do here. If you really like it, you can leave a review. Shout out to 2000 Trees Festival who support the show. Their first announcement for this year's festival in Cheltenham includes the Gaslight Anthem headlining on the Thursday, Manchester Orchestra, Boston Manor, Cleopatrick, the Mysterines, Gouge Away, and plenty of other incredible bands across indie rock, folk, hardcore, punk rock. If you're into that range of stuff, 2000 Trees is the one for you this July, and you can pick up those tickets at 2000trees.co.uk.
Introducing Ampollo, the new app for musicians. Using AI stem separation, play along to any song, improving your practice and performance. Record audio or video and connect with musicians all over the world. Collaborating and creating together. Think Google Docs meets TikTok, but for musicians. There's a huge range of video and audio editing tools, and the best part, it's free. Download today and make your mark. Ampollo, made for music.
Pick up Ampollo from the App Store. It's free. You can play guitar, bass, drums, sing along, any instrument on that app and find new friends to do it with. Now, from English Teacher, we've got Lewis and Doug. Doglegs Frog was his Zoom name. Here on 101 Part-Time Jobs. 101 Part-Time Jobs.
I grew up in a town near Preston. And so like the only two venues near there are Bootleg Social in Blackpool or the Ferret in Preston, which are both great. I think both also part of Independent Venue Week. But not on the tour. Yeah, like for bigger gigs, for most gigs I go to Manchester because it was like that was the main place growing up where I'd go see. The first gig I went to on my own was there.
Yeah.
Because it's not far on the train really, and it's like I used to go to Deaf Institute loads, obviously the Ritz, Gorilla, Soup Kitchen, Night and Day.
Yeah.
Like loads of ones from like end of high school through to before I went to uni. That's the main place I go.
Do you think there's something in that? You know, even if it is a fairly easy train ride, I'm sure it gets past midnight and you're like, fucked, you know, and then you need to find out the way home. Yeah. And with you, Doug, being in Bedford, which is still like, 45 minutes out of London, I wonder if there's something in that where you're in a kind of satellite town with, you know, close to a big city. So you know that there's good stuff happening, but you still have to, you got to make a bit of effort to fucking get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. And this was a bit of a worry because the trains back to Bedford on the Thames Link Cross, they're very regular, but sometimes if they fuck up, then you're stuffed and you have to wait at the train station for hours.
Yeah. Do a sleeper.
Yeah. So I've slept in St Pancras quite a few times and I waited for like the 6 a.m. train.
I mean, that's brave of you. I mean, playing in a band now, what kind of help is out there for you? You know, we'd read about the 90s bands all being on the dole, and that's the way they had time and, not very much, but like a bit of cash for practice and to go on tour and be back the next Tuesday when they got to go sign onto the dole. What's it like now in your generation, do you think? Like, how do people do it?
I don't think it's that much different, really. I think it really depends.
Yeah.
I think we're in an extremely fortunate position with the label backing that we have, and all of the other deals that we've been lucky enough to get. And even in, I don't know. I feel like I feel like the kind of fairy tale of being in a touring band and making the big bucks isn't real anymore. As much as it would, unless you reach those like really high levels of success. I don't think it's too different, to be honest.
Yeah
It's really not. Like, we're touring a lot and we're signed to a big label, but I mean, I live with my mum and dad and I can't see that changing for a long time. And like, we're not nothing has really changed. Really.
It's about using the resources that you have around you, basically.
Yeah. And like Lewis said, we are so lucky to be in the position we are in, because there's no way, if we weren't signed, there's no way we would be able to do the things that we have got coming up or that we have done already. Like, absolutely no way.
Yeah.
Unless we had loads of money from another
Thousands saving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't just up and like go on tour for a month, not earn any money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the time. It's time for touring, but also writing. I saw you at that Scala show, and one of my shows of the year, no hyperbole, no just saying it, because we're chatting now. One of my favorite shows of the year. The tunes, the Mastermind tune, that was the first time I saw you play that there, Mastermind Specialist, and it fucking blew me away.
Oh, thank you.
One of the things the biggest thing I thought, this, a band who didn't spend loads of time in a room together, touring, practicing, learning to play with each other, that a track like that wouldn't exist without that, It seems to me like that was my first thought. I was like, this is a song that's been made in time,
Yeah, like that song first came about from an idea that was written probably like 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And it's sort of slowly developed since then, until then we had a bit of time writing where we've properly fleshed it out together last summer. It's really gone through quite a few phases. Mm-hmm. And so you're right, like we just need, like you just need time. Like, time is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it sounds so basic, and I think it's about skateboarders and people who are who are artists, musicians, like all in that kind of Venn diagram of people making stuff. I'm always so amazed how people really just kind of put their ideas first. I mean, it's really easy to come out of school, go straight into work and do things that you feel like you're supposed to be doing, quote unquote. And so to say like, fuck that, I'm going to do my own thing is really amazing to me.
Yeah, big time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's empowering, isn't it? And it's fun. I don't want to live like a boring life. You know what I mean? There's that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? What are your kind of ruminations about that?
I can't help but feel very lucky that we've been given the opportunity to explore what we truly want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so important.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say that's the source of a lot of my motivation, to be honest, to like making it, as in like, that's my motivation, just like make it work.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to get swept up in it, but I feel like if I like zoomed out, or I like saw what we were doing now to like myself like a few years ago, then we're extremely lucky. It's a crazy thing that we're able to do, and yeah.
And you put the work in before those opportunities come, though, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
Like the hours practicing, talking, writing, playing shows.
Yeah,
it's relentless. Like it always was, and it feels way more relentless now, more than ever.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot more. It's way more relentless now because of the kind of added pressure of like, fuck, we've been given this opportunity, so now we need to make it work more than ever.
Right.
Because it feels way more like of the essence, I guess. I don't really know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more. I guess there's quite a lot more eyes on us now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like being perceived. And we are. Big time.
Well, it's difficult to have those eyes on you, because it's like, in a funny way. I mean, from my perspective, it's like, the advice I'd give you if we are mates, if the advice I would say to my mate in a similar position would be like, just keep on doing what you've already been doing. It's like, I feel like the friends who, like nerves before going on stage, I feel like the best advice is something to say like, this is a celebration of what you've already done. You've already done the work. This is a celebration of it. Just be cool.
I like that. That's a nice kind of flip. I need to think of that a bit more.
It's a really nice way to put it.
Yeah.
But it's true, you've done the work.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
The record's made.
It's very true. There's nothing we can do about it now.
It's still going back now.
People just need to hear it.
There's a lot of I'm not sure if you saw it, but Bethany Consentino from Best Coast made a video that Stereo Gun picked up, and it was about how when her solo record just came out, because of the way that DSPs and everything, works, that it's like, she was basically saying like, I put all this love into this record and I got pressed for a week, and then it kind of, didn't happen. And that is something that's happening for all artists, whether you're huge or whether you're just getting started. And that's just kind of the world we live in. So, I mean, I wonder whether it's even worth thinking about that or just kind of ignoring it. Like, whatever happens, it's out of your control, and it's out of everyone's control, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, it really is. And there is, and I love it, but there's so much music out there. There's so many people trying to get their stuff heard, which is amazing. But then that doesn't surprise me that then some things can get kind of swept up and some things are kind of swept under the rug for a bit and then get heard again on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's so many more. I mean, maybe there will probably always have been, but it seems like because of the likes of social media and it's way more accessible now to get your music heard for free. There's just so much more out there, which is wonderful, but also then makes it very saturated, and it's then harder, but then it's easier. It's a rock and a hard place.
With over 2,300 hotels across the U.S. and Canada, Best Western is perfect for our annual spring hiking trip. It feels a little like... Okay, back to the hotel. What a great day. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at Best Western.
101 part-time jobs. 101 part-time jobs. It sounds like, and I haven't heard the full record, and I think this episode's going to go out closer to the announcement of the record, so I think we can talk about the album. It sounds like from the tunes, from the singles, that it is going to be a record that keeps on getting better with each listen, and on the 10th listen, you're going to be hearing arrangements that you didn't hear the first time. And then 5 years later, I don't know, the album, if I go back and listen to, records that I loved 10 years ago, like the Shins or Jeff Buckley, it'd be like, oh, fuck, that this album's got better. I suspect that's going to be the case with English Teacher.
That's an insanely nice thing to hear.
I really hope so.
But it's true, because it feels like the arrangements are really thought out. There's a lot of deepness in there. I mean, does that kind of element of a record lasting, proving the test of time, is that something that starts off in the writing process, do you think?
It's actually something that I had in my head a lot, to be honest, personally, because I feel like as in that's kind of how I wanted to set a bar in my head that was like a bit too high, isn't like, just because I feel like how many opportunities do you get to write a debut album and have all of this, support behind us and all this like attention. And I don't know, I feel like there was a lot of songs that didn't make it, and there was like there's a lot of ideas that didn't make it. And I think, I don't know, I really like the idea of like holding the bar as being like, like I want it to be like really good, like classic songs.
Yeah. You only get one shot at a debut.
Yeah, like you could, like, yeah. Whether we've done that or not, I don't know. But like, I like the idea of the bar being like not certainly feel like, okay, that's like kind of a song and it's like pretty good. I actually spent a lot of time during the writing process. I kind of got obsessed with going back and going through albums that like really excited me when I was younger.
Yeah,
and like. Basically, like, there's like big albums that you almost forget about. It's like, yeah, there's loads of little cool albums that really inspire me and they're like doing like individual things, but then like the really big ones that kind of like sit there as like kind of just like the staple. The ones I was like, shit, I think I'd want to do this kind of album.
Yeah.
And those ones I used as a measure for like
Which are tell me one or two of those.
Like, and it's something some of them I didn't really like think of as well. Like, like Siamese Dream, Smashing Pumpkins. I feel I discovered that when I was like 11, 12. But like, it's like, some of it's a bit cringy, but it's like, I don't know, like, it's not really, but like.
Of the time, yeah. But it was like, there was like a few things like that kind of made me want to like play guitar or like, yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else now. Loads of like Smiths. Is This It actually as well?
Yeah.
Like another album, like, it's just like, it's not necessarily like that cool, but it's just like such a classic album. And it was like such like I don't know, like things like that. Like,
I'm throwing Radiohead into the mix here as well now. This is a lot of like just bands, like the classics, basically.
Fucking full send.
Yeah, like they're kind of like the basics, but I feel like it's like ones that are right. I tend to kind of write off a bit because they're so like just like they're always there. It's just like a background. Like
one of the common threads to me of those records and thinking about that kind of thing is the vulnerability that those records and those artists have. Like that real kind of stripped awayness and like you say, some Smashing Pumpkins tunes or some stuff from the 90s now sounds a bit cringy, but like I feel like cringy and vulnerability for me are like very much they're very next to each other.
Yeah, totally like, yeah, totally.
Did you have that? Do you talk about this kinds of stuff between the four of you? Do you talk about this in the car?
I mean, we must have, right? I can't nothing comes to mind now.
I don't know.
But I mean, this element of being vulnerable, because imagine there's enough to sort out. There's where you're sleeping. The last time I chatted to you briefly at that 100 Club show, and we were chatting, and you say, we're staying in West London at a hostel tonight, and where you're staying, where you're driving, that's always going to be, I imagine, the priority of what you're talking about. But then having the music side of it, of being like, I love that snare sound. Like that's something I want to bring, listening to the music in the car, that's something I want to bring in. Are those the kinds of conversations you'll have, or do you kind of sort of keep them to yourselves in a way?
I'm going to say we probably keep them to ourselves. We must talk about it as well, but I can't remember a time, because usually if we're all listening to something together, one of us won't like it. Am I right, Lewis, or is that?
No, you're right. It's usually kind of like, I feel like we rotate it a bit. Like we'll like cue a song in the car or something, and it'll be like someone will be apologizing to someone, or it'd be like,
you're a big apologist here.
Who cued this? Like this is definitely some fucking Nick cued.
Yeah.
Great. Well, look, it sounds like you're in the storm of it. You're in the process of it. I imagine you're excited to see what's next, and excited to some things you can control, other things you can't control, and it's the experience.
Yeah,
that's it, and it really is an experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it to bits.
Talking about jobs then, I mean, I kind of gone through various iterations of how I like asking people about jobs and their kind of classic work mistakes, and I feel like we do live in this world where we're not too far apart in age. When we finish school, there's that kind of element of you can do anything. You can go to Australia for a gap year and do this, and it very different to our parents' generations. And we live in a special time for it, of like working. People are having like so many different jobs, so many different careers. That element of getting one job and sticking to it it's just not the reality now for so many of us.
No, not at all.
So, with that in mind, with that as the backdrop, what are your stories of, what are the worst jobs you've done? What are the best jobs you've done? Are there jobs that really stick out that you're like, yeah, I would do that again, or definitely not do that again?
Oh, big time. For me, the worst ones would be any sort of hospitality thing. I had a bad experience once where I worked this was before I went to uni. I worked in a pub down the road, and the manager was a right meanie. I didn't like him. But then I was also a very sensitive soul. So any sort of even slight negative comment towards how I was working would hurt me for weeks on end. And so basically I was like, someone asked for Irish coffee. I made one. I didn't know how to make one. and I did it wrong. And then the manager shouted at me, and then I never went back.
I'm with you. I get it now. I worked at a radio station. We'd have those group meetings, and sometimes I would voice my opinion, and then I'd spend the rest of my day wishing I hadn't, because I felt like an idiot afterwards.
It sucks. Sucks ass.
It does suck. How about you, Lewis?
Worst one I've ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, if actually all of my jobs have been hospitality jobs and still are, to be honest, apart from obviously music jobs. But like, you know, if we're talking about side jobs and jobs growing up, they've all been bars, restaurants, cafes, pubs. Worst one I think was maybe I worked in a cafe. I think it was the worst one because of the context. And it was basically, I moved into a house after uni because I had to. And I just kind of I was completely winging it. I was just an idiot and I didn't plan my finances at all. So I was like, yeah, I'll get a job. It's sound. I'll get like any pub job. Didn't sort it. And then there was this I didn't get anything quick enough. So I got this there was this little window where I was literally like having to accept any job, and I had to the only job that I got in time was this cafe one. But because I had no money, I had to walk there. So it took me 2 hours to walk to this cafe in Roundhay every morning until I got cash at the end of the week so I could pay for a taxi. And that fucking week, and obviously because it was I had to accept the first job I could get my hands on. So I was literally cleaning up rubbish for a week, and I had absolutely nothing to my name. And that was the fucking worst one. It was like chaos, you know, like a museum cafe where it's like absolute chaos. It's like parents and kids just like chucking fucking crisp wrappers everywhere. That
I had no idea you did that.
Yeah, it was a low point. It's great.
I know, because those kinds of places are where parents take their kids. A few of my friends have got kids now. When we hang out, we'll be like, what do you do with a kid? Because you can't go to the pub. And we can, but, you know, only for a half an hour or so. And so we'll go to those museums, and everyone else has got the same idea. So it's just baby shit everywhere.
Yeah, it's not fun.
I think the thing that I think about this, you know, based off my own experiences, of course, is that like the identity when you have that, because when you're in that scenario and you know you're there to get paid, you know, and you know that the day's going to end, but in that moment, in that day, it doesn't feel like it's ever going to end. And you start thinking, is this what I do now? Yeah. Because that can start to fuck with your head.
Yeah.
So did you always feel, were you like, I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing this so I can play music.
I guess in hindsight, yeah, I was thinking that. But at the time just moved so slowly and I wanted to be anywhere else.
Yeah. Doesn't feel like it's worth it in the time.
Yeah. I guess it definitely did feel like it was worth it.
Worth it for the stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Worth it to have in the rearview mirror. So there they were, as they live and breathe, Lewis and Doug from English Teacher. I hope you enjoyed that chat and got something from it, and it provides a nice tonic to Albert Road and your pre-orders of This Could Be Texas out on the 12th of April. The artwork's lovely. I think Lily Fontaine designed. Really great. What a brilliant debut album to be looking forward to this year. Go see them live, pick up the record, and let's enjoy it. All right, see you again soon. Some brilliant episodes coming up here. We've got Everything. We got Jamie Webster, Ned Russin from Title Fight and now Glitterer, Norman Brannan, Ed Harcourt, Idols, loads of great stuff. So make sure you subscribe, review if you've got a second, and I'll be speaking to you very soon. Cheers.
Discover a career that matters at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Be part of an innovative team delivering world-class healthcare and benefits to America's veterans. Enjoy robust benefits, work-life balance, and career development opportunities. Join a diverse and inclusive community that values your unique background and skills. A community where nearly 1 in 3 of your colleagues are veterans themselves. Apply now at vacareers.va.gov.